I'm convinced that every time a student steps into the classroom, walks from one place to another, I'm reminded that God has already prepared that space in advance and is excited to meet with students.
My favorite part of being a professor is the one-on-one interaction.
I love coaching, and I love the guys that I get to do it with. It's my passion and my mission.
I made it a habit that the first day of class, I would learn the name and call them by their first name.
And in every interaction that I have with students, I get to have real conversations about where they're at.
Developing that community. You're a part of the family. You belong here. We want this to be home for you.
I'm not just a faculty here teaching. Every morning, I look at the list of students and I try to pray for each one.
Make that heart and soul connection.
Pulling out all of who you are, your spiritual, your emotional, your capacity to learn. And we're saying you do not need to compartmentalize those things. Be your whole self in this space. God sees me, God is good, and the community here sees me as well.
I get to help students be exceptional at their craft so they can go out into the world and be difference makers.
The courses, they are rigorous, and the reason why they're rigorous is we know that they're going to make a very big impact. The difference is that we want them to be successful. We're giving them the tools.
I will ask them various vocational questions that draw out the elements of deep calling as they aspire to become who God's created them to be.
Helping others understand chemistry can be fun and that God loves them. I really believe that there's a book of nature and a book of scripture, and they have one author, and that is God.
It's those light bulbs that go out, and then they're launched into careers that they didn't think that they would do.
They will recognize how they're spiritual, they're emotional, their talents, how they're all interconnected, meaningful to every industry, not just Christian ministry, but every industry that they may be called into.
When your passion and your gifting becomes your mission,
To do the best job I can and to serve God with the talents He gave me.
that's the game changer. That's a life changer.
Lord, thanks for the opportunity for us.
And it's more than just the education.
Let's have a good time. Just may they feel your peace. We love you so much, Lord.
The conversations would take place, dignity would be brought back.
Every day I show up to work remembering that Azusa Pacific University was founded as a training school for Christian workers in 1899, dedicated to cultivating difference makers who make an impact in every sphere of society, both locally and globally, committed to engaging unreached people all over the world.
And so the world is here at APU. We have an opportunity to glorify God in those differences and experience the spirit of Pentecost.
We're positioned in the greater Los Angeles County in beautiful San Gabriel Valley.
Our proximity allows us to hire working professionals. It allows our students to go be inspired, to have internships.
Where our students are going into those spaces, showing the love of Christ and softening hearts and being mindful and prayerful in how they're making decisions on behalf of others.
By offering transformational education, we really help students to be equipped, not just with the knowledge and the information, but have the character to bring hope and light.
And it is knowing who you are and whose you are as a child of God that allows students to be confident as disciples, scholars, leaders, and citizens.
God wants artists,
Athletes,
Nurses,
Scientists.
Pastors,
Leaders.
that define themselves, not by fame, not by celebrity, but by Him.
and the phrase I use is a long obedience in the same direction.
APU is equipping leaders to go, therefore, and transform the world.
Well, welcome to Thriving at APU. Good morning. Did everybody rest okay last night? Yesterday was a great start to our welcome weekend. Our residence life team was working hard to make sure everybody got into their dorms. Our Alpha team made sure that all of you were welcomed as you came onto campus. Can we give it up for them? They're sitting right over here. Our campus life team. My name is Dr. Koba Canales. I serve as Dean of Students at APU. I've been on staff at APU for 13 years, and I also graduated with my undergraduate degree from APU. I was a transfer student. Do we have any transfers here this morning? All right. Very good. So we are so glad to have you here. You are in for a treat this morning. The best of APU are sitting right over there, and you're going to get a chance to hear from them. I encourage you to take in as much information as you possibly can, because this group of faculty and staff that you will hear from today are the key, in my opinion, to your success at APU. Make sure you take advantage of everything that you hear. I just wanted to give you a welcome and share a few words of encouragement before I bring up the person who's going to guide us through the rest of our morning together. And I want to share just really briefly, as I was working through my doctoral program, I came downstairs one time in the middle of writing my dissertation, and right next to my coffee maker, because we all know we need a little bit of coffee every once in a while, maybe more than once in a while, maybe a lot in a while. And there was a Post-it note that was right on the cupboard next to my coffee maker that was written by my son, who at the time was about 7 years old, and it simply said, "You got this." And I kept that Post-it note. In fact, I still have that Post-it note because it's a reminder to me that I got this. And guess what? You got this. So turn to somebody next to you and tell them, "You got this." All right. Something else that I was taught from a young age, one of my favorite scripture verses is Philippians chapter 4, verse 13, which says, "I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength." Another way of putting it is in the Gospel of Luke that simply says this: "With God, nothing," somebody say nothing. Say it again louder, nothing is impossible. With God, nothing is impossible. So I want to encourage you, you are here for a reason. It's not by accident. This morning's session will give you tools and resources to help you thrive at APU. And in order to get us going in that direction, I'm going to introduce our presenter, who is Dr. Laurie Schreiner. She's a professor of higher education here at Azusa Pacific University. Having spent 40 years in higher education as psychology professor, associate academic dean after receiving her PhD in psychology from the University of Tennessee, co-author of the Student Satisfaction Inventory that is used on over 1,600 campuses. Somebody say, wow. Across the U.S. and Canada, she has published numerous journal articles and book chapters on thriving, positive psychology, engaged learning, sophomore success, faculty development, and advising. You are blessed, we are blessed to have with us this morning Dr. Laurie Schreiner.
Thanks, Koba. Well, good morning and welcome to APU. This is your future. Now, I'm a professor here. I've been here for 20 years, and as Koba said, this is my 40th year in higher education, so I just want to be clear with everybody this morning. I started in kindergarten, but this is your future, and that's what we're going to talk about this morning. One of the things that I do besides teach here is I do research on, and I've spent a long time researching what helps college students succeed. So I want to share some of those secrets with you this morning. This picture of your success that you see on the screen may seem a long way off, particularly as you're standing at the very beginning of this road, maybe feeling a little bit like you did when you first went to kindergarten. Those times tend to repeat a little bit, and you may feel like the road ahead is a bit confusing, full of twists and turns, and college can be hard to navigate sometimes. There's so many choices that are open to you. And whether you got here by freeway or the Gold Line, whether you're living on campus and wondering why all these people are yelling at you as you turn the corner, or whether you're living at home, your family is proud of you. Your family has high hopes for you, and that can also be a lot of pressure sometimes. But no matter how you got here, you're now at the beginning of an amazing journey. And you may not know yet where you're going, but you're definitely on your way. You've taken that first step. So welcome to an amazing road trip with us. Today we're going to talk a little bit together about this journey that lies ahead for you, how you are in the driver's seat, for this journey. But you're also surrounded by people who are going to help you navigate the road ahead, accompany you on the journey, and sing along to the radio. And you may feel like you got this. You just said that to each other, right? You got this. It's not going to be any problem at all. Or you may feel a little intimidated or unsure of how to do this. So we want to get a little bit of that out of our system this morning. So I want you to think about one of the things that you might be a little concerned about as you think about starting this journey at APU, whether this is your first time in college, whether you've been at another institution and this is your first time at APU as a transfer student. What is a concern that you have? And I want you to share that as well with somebody sitting next to you. Just a minute and say, this is one of my concerns that I have as I think about starting this journey. So just turn to your neighbor for just a minute and share what one of your concerns is. Now, I know I didn't hear every conversation, although I did hear someone shout school at the beginning. You know, that the whole thing seems sometimes a bit intimidating, overwhelming. But if your conversation was like others that our students have had when they first started here, you might be feeling anxious about how you're going to make friends, or worried about how hard your classes might be. Maybe a little nervous about things you want to try for the first time, like auditioning for a play or a music group, or trying out for a team. Or you might be feeling afraid that you're not going to get along with your roommate. Or you might not be able to afford to do everything that your friends do. And we get that. And we are here to help you figure out where it is you want to go. Now, the destination is up to you. Whether that's becoming the person that you want to be, or using your superpowers for the good of other people, getting that degree so you can have the life you've always dreamed of. This road that you're on is going to have a lot of twists and turns, plenty of curves in it, forks in the road where decisions are going to have to be made, obstacles that you will have to overcome, and some pitfalls that may throw you for a loop. And sometimes you might even feel like you're running on empty. That is normal. But when your fuel gets low, that's what we're here for. We're here to help you fill the tank with friends who get you, with classmates who study with you, with opportunities for your family to be involved in your journey. And we're going to remind you of your goals and help you figure out what it takes to reach them. And we're always going to help you connect to a world that is bigger than yourself. We want you to become a difference maker. We want you to not just survive this road trip called college, but we want you to thrive. And that's what Jesus' mission was when he was on earth. He came that we might have life and have it, fill in the blank for me, abundantly. Yeah. Filled to overflowing, or as my favorite translation says, more than is necessary for survival. So I want you to start by thinking back to a time in your life when you were thriving. Okay, think about a time you were thriving, and by that I mean life was good. You were feeling good and doing good. And that might have been yesterday, or it might have been a while ago, but think about what it felt like to thrive. And again, we're gonna just take a quick turn to your neighbor and to say, what did it feel like when you were thriving? What does that feel like? Take a few minutes and share that with the person next to you. Now, that feeling that you just described to your neighbor, that's our goal for you at APU. We want you to thrive. So let's take a minute and think about, what does that look like? Well, it is about feeling good. So when people talk about thriving, you may have mentioned that you might have felt energized or I don't know that anyone used the word joyful, but you might say, well, I was happy, or I was excited about something. So there's a feeling that comes from thriving that's always a positive emotion. It doesn't mean everything's going your way necessarily, but it does mean that you're feeling like I'm in the right place doing what I'm supposed to do. So we're often, when we're thriving, we are doing something that's meaningful to us, meaningful work that makes a difference. We're involved. And as students have told me over the years, thriving is not something you do by yourself. It's something that usually involves other people. But it also means that there's something else going on in your head when you're thriving, and that is you are mindful. And what that means is you're paying attention, you're noticing. And it means you are fully present in the moment. So there's lots of things to worry about in the future, lots of things that we might think about in our past. But students who are thriving are fully in the present, saying, what is God doing in my life right now? What's happening right now? How can I pay attention to the work that I need to be doing right now with these people? And then when negative things happen, as often occurs in everybody's life, you're able to reframe that and say, oh, that's a temporary kind of setback. So our definition of thriving is simply making the most of your college experience. And here at APU, we've actually been researching this in almost 200,000 students across the United States and Australia and Canada, as well as in our own institution. And so today I want to tell you a little bit about what it means to thrive and then what it takes to thrive. So the petals on this flower that you see represent what it means to thrive. And the leaves represent what feeds your thriving, such as spirituality, sorry, moved a little too fast there, finding a major that's a good fit for you. And then the stem that anchors the thriving is your sense of belonging here, feeling like this is your home. And then there's soil that enriches and supports your thriving. And so being involved on campus and interacting with faculty is going to help you thrive. So I want to talk a little bit about each one of these things. So first of all, part of what it means to thrive is what's happening when you're in the classroom, that you're engaged in the learning process. And what this means is that you're actively connecting the things you're learning to things you already know or to what you're learning in a different class, to the things that interest you, to your future. But it also means you're connecting with the other people in the class and with your instructor. So engaged learning is not about the content you're learning, it's about what your mind is doing, what you are engaged in the process. Now, the second thing we know about what it means to thrive is what we call academic determination. And so what this means is that you have goals. There are things that you are working toward, and you're motivated to put in the time and effort, the right kind of effort to your academic work, and you know how to apply your strengths to the academic tasks that you're facing in your classes. And so that's part of what we're going to teach you here at APU. We're going to help you identify what are the talents that you bring to us. We're excited to learn that about you. And we're going to help you apply those to the challenges that you might face throughout the year. Now, the other thing about thriving students is that they're very open to difference, and they want to make a difference. So when they meet people who come from different backgrounds or who have different political opinions or different faith traditions, they are open to hearing what they have to say because they realize what a great learning opportunity that represents. So you're going to have lots of opportunity to encounter people who are different from you here. APU students are from many different cultures and backgrounds. They have lots of different opinions, and that simply means that we mirror the kingdom of God in our diversity here. So thriving students are not just open to difference, they also want to make a difference in the world, and that's also what we prepare you to do. And so we use the phrase cultivating difference makers because that's our mission. That's why we're here, is to help you do that. Now, thriving students also have very strong connections to other people. So that means they have enough friends so they don't feel lonely too often. They have friends who care about them and support them. But here's the thing I want you to understand about the research on these friendships. It actually only takes one good friend. In order to thrive, having one person in your life is all it takes. It's awesome if you have more than that. And sometimes when you first enter a place, and we find that often our first-year students think, oh, I'm going to have dozens of friends by the second week of school. Not so much. It's going to take a while to form close friendships. So having one or two good friends by Thanksgiving week is probably a more realistic goal. But thriving students are interacting with other people, and they're creating these close relationships. Now, the final thing about what it means to thrive is to have a positive perspective on life. So thriving students believe that things will eventually work out if they use the right strategies and work hard. And there's a saying from a movie I saw a couple of years ago, that all shall be well in the end. And if all is not well right now, that's because it's not yet the end. And that's the mindset that often thriving students have, is if I use the right strategies and put in the effort, things are going to eventually work out. Now, while the most successful people in any profession, when we ask them to describe their success, so journalists who interview these highly successful people and say, tell us your story of success, more than 95% of these highly successful people across the world start their story by telling about a failure. They start with a story of failure. For instance, Steven Spielberg, you know, the guy whose movies have grossed over $9 billion and who's won 3 Academy Awards, he was rejected not once, but twice from the University of Southern California's School of Cinematic Arts. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first TV job. Michael Jordan was cut from his first high school basketball team. J.K. Rowling was a single mother living on welfare when she started writing books in her spare time. So she says that failure is part of the learning process. The only true failure is when you stop trying. So all these successful people describe the way that failure became a learning opportunity for them that led to their eventual success. And so that's the key. So when you don't get the grade you wanted on that first test, or when you don't get the part in the play or the starting position on the team, being able to reframe that as a temporary setback that you can learn from, that's what helps you thrive. Now that we've talked a little bit about what it means to thrive, I want to talk about what it takes to thrive. Because part of thriving depends on what you do, but part of it also depends on what we do, on the kind of environment that you plant yourself in. And your part is simply this: to never give up. It's that simple. There's a South African song that began as a protest song during the apartheid era, when white South African government officials racially segregated and oppressed the black and multiracial South Africans. And during that time, this protest song, which was called Bambalela, which is a Zulu word that means never give up. And so our students go to Cape Town, and when we're in church worshiping together, every single time we are there, they sing this song, and they link arms, and now they're fighting not against apartheid, but against AIDS and poverty. But they link arms and sing, never, ever, 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 ever give up. And that's the story we want to convey to you. It's the best advice we can give you, is to never give up. So here's the secret that I've learned after 40 years of doing this, is that success is not about how smart you are. Let me say that again. Success is not about how smart you are. It's about whether you show up and keep going. It's about your persistence. So here's the thing. We admitted you to APU. So that means we know you're smart enough to succeed here. There is no question in our minds about that. We believe in you. We believe you can be successful here. But what we see makes the difference between students who graduate and those who don't is that the ones who don't graduate have given up at some point along the line, whereas those who do graduate have put in the right kind of effort and the right strategies, and that's part of what we're going to teach you. You don't have to come in with those strategies. It's part of what you're going to learn here. But it's all about whether you keep going when things get tough. Our part of the deal is that we are the soil that's going to help you thrive. Just as beautiful plants are not going to live long in soil that is not carefully watered and tended, we know our students' success is in our hands. So what kind of soil are we cultivating here for our students? Well, that's what we're going to be learning about today, the things that APU is doing to create the kind of soil where you can grow and thrive. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. So there's 5 major pathways to thriving that we know from our research. And what APU does is helps you find each of these pathways. Now, we can't do it for you. You do have to follow the pathway, but we can give you the map. We can show you the path, and we can join you for the journey. So the first pathway is finding a major that's a good fit for you, and your success coach, your advisor, faculty that you meet are going to help you do that. Now, you may not know your major now, and that's very, very common in students who are in their first year of college. It's very common not to have it all figured out, so that's okay. Don't worry about that. We're going to help you find a major that works for you, that's a good fit for your interests and your strengths. You see, our goal is to help you become the best version of yourself, because there's not just one right path to success. There are lots of pathways. So we're going to help you identify your strengths, how those might fit into a future career. And you probably already know some strengths that you have, things that you're good at, things that come naturally to you. A strength can also be things that your friends have said they really like about you, things that your teachers have complimented you for. But you also have strengths that come from your culture, from your community, from your family. And those are things such as being able to think and speak in multiple languages. That's an enormous strength that many of you have. So what I want you to think about for a moment is just to think, what is one thing I'm bringing in here? I already have this. Whether that's something you're good at, or your friends have told you they like about you, a teacher has complimented you for, or something you recognize comes from your culture and community. And again, turn to the person next to you and share one of those things that you feel like is an asset or a strength that you have. Just take a few minutes to do that. All right, these strengths that you just talked about, whether you heard them from your family members or whether you shared them yourself, these are things for you to build on while you're here with us. These are going to be the building blocks of your success. What has helped you be successful in other environments, and all of you have been successful, or you wouldn't be here. So what's helped you before, even if it wasn't necessarily in the classroom? So your strengths as a point guard on the basketball team, as a musician, as a friend, as a good listener, those are still strengths that we can use to help you succeed academically. And that's what we're going to work with you with, to help you see how these strengths can help you be successful in your time with us. Now, another pathway to thriving is campus involvement, and you're going to see lots of opportunities for that, and our student government executive team is going to tell us a little bit about that in a moment. So campus involvement is a pathway to thriving, whether that is playing ball or watching the ball games, whether that is getting involved in clubs or organizations or student government. The key is really to choose wisely. So connect your involvement to your major, or to a hobby, or something that interests you or energizes you. or to things that will strengthen you spiritually, or that will help you see the world differently, then commit to that one thing and dive deep. Now, the third pathway is your relationship to faculty. This is not like high school. Here, the professors want to know you, they want to interact with you. There is more opportunity for interaction at this level than you may have experienced in other places. But your part is to go to office hours and communicate with your professors. So we've found that going to office hours is actually one of the best predictors of student success. So every faculty member, and by that I mean the people who are teaching you in your classes, we all spend 4 to 6 hours a week when we're just available in our offices, just to chat with you. You don't need an appointment, you can just drop in. And you don't wait to go just when you need help. But you actually go to hang out, to talk more about a topic that you heard about in class, to ask the professor's opinion about things, or just to get to know them. That's an important part of thriving here. And there's also an opportunity for mentoring, and that means having a deeper relationship with a professor who can be a role model, or who can guide you in decisions you're trying to make, or who can talk to you about how they became successful in their career, or who can pray with you, or talk about how you're feeling being here at APU. So some of these are formal opportunities through discipleship groups, but some are also informal times, just going for coffee. And you heard earlier this morning how much we like to do that. We love going for coffee. And so it's okay to reach out to any of your instructors just to talk, just to go for coffee. Now, the fourth pathway to thriving is spirituality. Now, this doesn't just mean your religious beliefs or your faith tradition. It can mean that, but it can also mean how you see the world and whatever gives you a sense of meaning and purpose in life. Something beyond yourself, bigger than yourself, that you're committed to, that gives you a sense of strength when things get difficult in life. That can also be an important pathway to thriving. So this may be about your own spiritual life, and you will find lots of reasons to pray here and lots of opportunities to do that. But we also want you to support you in your faith journey, and that's what chapel is about, supporting you in that journey. We also support you through discipleship groups and through classes that help you connect your faith, your sense of meaning and purpose in life, to a sense of hope about what God is doing in the world and how God can use you. And it's completely okay if you're not sure what you believe right now, because that's part of the journey here too, figuring that out. So you will have space to do that. You will have lots of different exposures to people, to other students who come from different religious backgrounds, different faith traditions, as well as students who may not be sure they believe anything right now. But here's the important part. All of our faculty and staff are Christ followers. We follow the way of Jesus as we do our work here. And we understand that your journey may not be the same as ours, and that's okay. We want to be with you along the way. Now, the final pathway to thriving is when you feel a sense of community, which is about feeling that you belong here. So here's the thing about belonging, is that we constantly monitor the environment around us for social cues that signal whether we belong or not. We think, am I the only one? Will they like me? Will I make any friends? Am I valued here? Why are they looking at me like that? Should I even be here? And when someone is feeling left out, you can tell by the way they act. They may show up late, slip into the back of class, be the first one to leave. They may sit at the back of class or not seem to be paying attention, not talk to anyone or participate in class. But that tells you they feel left out. They don't feel like they belong. So if you're feeling that way, you may feel like you're the only one, but everyone feels that way at first as they're trying to figure out a new place. So look at who else might be feeling left out, and why not reach out to them? When I was in high school, my family moved to a new town, and I was feeling like I really did not belong in my new high school, and I was also painfully shy. And my mother gave me some advice that I always think about anytime I'm feeling awkward or left out, and she said, look for someone else who's feeling left out and make their day better by reaching out and talking to them. So struggling sometimes is interpreted as evidence we don't belong. Don't fall for it. Struggle is a normal part of the college experience. Everyone struggles at some point in time. But we tend to think we're the only one who is struggling and that those struggles are somehow a sign that maybe I shouldn't be here. But that's wrong. Everyone struggles at some point in time with something. And it doesn't mean you don't belong, it just means you're a normal human being. So we have tons of resources here for every kind of struggle you might imagine. And nothing surprises us. Seriously, nothing. So let me say as clearly as I can that you belong here. We saw something in you, and we are confident that you can succeed here. Otherwise, we wouldn't have admitted you. We are committed not only to your success, but to your thriving. Academically, spiritually, psychologically, in your relationships, thriving students don't just succeed in college. They go on to live good lives. They are lifelong learners who meet their goals. They are connected to other people in healthy ways, optimistic about their future, ready to make a difference in the world. So you may feel like you're a little squirrely sometimes, but inside each one of you is great potential that we can't wait to see emerge. God bless you. I'm going to bring up to the stage now our Student Government Association executive team. Welcome.
Good morning, everybody. As Dr. Schreiner just introduced, we are half of the Student Government Association executive team, and we're here to talk to you today about campus involvement and how you as students can get involved in different things on campus. So my name is Brady Compon. I serve as the SGA president this year, and I'm a senior. I'm majoring in business management and honors humanities with a minor in Spanish. Team, could you introduce yourselves, please?
Yeah, I'm Heather Buck. I am SGA's Director of Internal Affairs. I am a senior, and I am an English major with a Biblical Studies minor.
And I'm Michael McIntyre. I'm a senior. I'm this year's SGA Vice President, and I'm a Music Theory and Honors Humanities major.
Thank you, team. So as we saw there, campus involvement is one of those 5 pathways to thriving at a place like APU. So can we say some of those things that we're involved in on campus, and then we can tie that into some of the other opportunities that any students can take to be involved in on campus. Michael, would you like to start us off?
Yeah, of course. And you said the things that we're involved in? Yeah. So as a music major, I've been involved in music ensembles here. I've been in the chamber singers for my time here at APU. I've also served in the Alpha program. Yeah. And then also in various leadership roles in the Honors College, including TAing and being an honors mentor.
I was an RA last year, so resident advisor. They are honestly great people to just get connected to. They know a lot about on-campus clubs, organizations. Honestly, if you know your RA, please reach out to them. They would love to help you with that. I've also been a part of the West Wind, which is the literary journal on campus. We work to publish student work, specifically creative works. And I was an associate editor my first year, and this year I am one of the head editors. I am the event coordinator for the West Wind. So any reading parties or any other things you see, that's me helping to plan that. And also, I went on an action team with the OSD office to Mexico, and Ensenada specifically, last spring, and it was honestly a great opportunity just to get involved.
And one of my favorite ways that I've gotten involved on campus is through on-campus employment opportunities. So I have worked as a switchboard operator on campus. Like when you Google APU and press the call button, I would answer that. And I also work for the athletics department, so I do public address announcing or scoreboard operating for soccer games, basketball games, baseball, and things like that. And that's been a great way for me to be involved in different areas on campus. Similar to Michael, I also have served in the Honors College in a couple different roles on the leadership team in the Honors College called the Dean's Cabinet, and also as an honors mentor. So any honors students, you are connected with a mentor, and that was a role that I have served in. Now, there are a lot of other things that we haven't done because we're only 3 people, and there's a massive campus here and 2,200 students that are involved in things. So what are some of the other things that students can get involved in as first-year students and throughout their time here at APU? Heather?
Yeah, I can start with that one. Like I mentioned, your RA is a great resource. Also, your Alpha Leader is another great resource. They know a lot, They know a lot about on-campus things. Also, just honestly, just walk into different offices, and people in there would love to talk to you. One of the ways that I got involved was my first week on campus. I was a transfer into the spring semester, so it was very different, very quiet, and I talked to a random girl in the den. She introduced me to a church, and through that church, I've made a lot of really great friends on the APU campus that I do all sorts of things with, and that was honestly one of the best things I could have done to get myself involved.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of great opportunities to get involved on campus here at APU. Like, you can be involved in intramural sports. You could be involved with the OSD group, go on an action team, like Heather said, study abroad. Brady did that.
Yeah, I went to Ecuador. Please do that.
Yeah, just a ton of different departments, but then also getting involved can also just look like attending events on campus, interacting with friends, different stuff like that. It doesn't always need to be in a formal sense.
One friend suggested to me getting a shake at Chick-fil-A and then just walking around the track. And I think that's just indicative of a really good way to be involved at APU. Like Michael said, it doesn't have to be formal. Just being present on campus and participating in everything we have to offer here. Maybe instead of doing homework in your dorm one night, you go do it at the library, and then you can run into some friends and be involved like that. There's also a lot of other formal things like music. If anybody here plays an instrument or likes to sing, you don't have to be a music major at APU to participate in those ensembles. So auditions are still happening the next couple of days if you want to participate in those this semester. Also for musical theater things, there are some shows that you don't have to be a major for. So if you love singing and dancing and want to be in a musical, you can be involved in that. And yeah, like Michael said, intramural sports, so many clubs and organizations. We're restarting a speech and debate team. So if you did that in high school and you're passionate about that, you can do that. And SGA is a great opportunity to be involved. We have 2 positions for first-year students that are just for first-year students to represent everybody on campus. And that's a good way to be involved not only with students, but have access to faculty, staff, and administration. So as we're wrapping up here of ways to get involved, if you could go back to your first-year self, what is one piece of advice you would give them as far as getting involved on campus?
I can start with this one. Yeah, I think if I was to go back to my freshman year, I would just tell myself to not worry about having it all figured out right away. I felt a lot of pressure to pick a major that I was going to stick with. I ended up changing it 4 times. That's beside the point. Yeah. But also just with the groups that you get involved in, I've participated in a lot of different things, and I'm grateful for all those experiences, and it's been nice to not have to know what I'm doing at all times, or even know what I'm doing after graduation.
If I could give myself one piece of advice, I would tell myself that I'm going to change so much in these 4 years, and that the things I was interested in freshman year are not going to be the same things that I'm interested in my senior year, nor is my understanding of the world going to be the same. I briefly mentioned that I was an RA, and then I decided that I wanted to try something different. And so this year I'm doing SGA, and that's totally okay to do. I know some people who have been in a different leadership position every single year they've been in school. And it's honestly just awesome to just see them change their interest and explore new things. And who knows, maybe at the end of this year, I'll decide I liked being an RA better, but at least I got the chance to figure that out.
And my one piece of advice to any of you and to my first-year self here at APU is don't let this heightened importance on being involved on campus contribute to FOMO. There's so many things that you can always be doing, but also sometimes you just gotta like hunker down and write a paper or take a nap or just go to church or be with friends. And you don't always have to be doing all these big campus life events and things that are happening on campus. So there's our advice to you guys. And now we're going to transition to the Academic Success Center. Stephanie Gala and her team will talk about how you guys can thrive academically.
Hello, everyone. Can we give them another round of applause? Was that like incredible wisdom from your peers? They are amazing. Well, I am Stephanie Gala, director of our Academic Success Center here at APU, and I get to tell you a little bit about our academic resources we have on campus. This team that is like standing right behind me will introduce themselves in just a second. All of you should have connected with them at some point. Can we see a raise of hand if you have connected with your success coach to get in classes that start on Monday? Yes, I see them. Well done, well done. So you're going to hear more from them in just a minute. We have so many resources. You can see this huge list that is going to come up right behind me. I'm not going to go over each and every one of them because this is a lot of information at you. Do not worry. But I want you to know that we have all of these resources that are going to help you with picking classes every semester. You heard Dr. Schreiner talking about major fit. We're going to help you find a fit for a major if you're here and you don't have one, or if you want to change that later. Parents, it's okay. It does happen. We've got a team that's going to support them through that process. We also have ways to help when you're in classes and you find that you might be struggling. We have tutoring and we have writing. We have research support. We have ways to help when you're trying to develop your career experiences, right? I know everyone's looking forward to the future, and how do you get prepared for the career that God is calling you to? We have a center that helps you with preparing for that and helping you find jobs on campus. You heard from our SGA reps, right? Getting engaged on campus is so important, and a way to do that is on-campus jobs. We also have resources for our first-generation college students. I am one of those. Anyone in the house, first-generation college student? You're the first in your family? Yes. Well done. So courageous. And we have support for you through all of these resources. And so the team that's going to help you know when to connect with those resources are right here on stage, because I know it's going to be a lot of information through this weekend, and you're going to say, what's that? It's okay. You just come to your success coach, and they're going to help guide you through the process, because here at APU, we have assigned success coaches for every single student, and they're going to support you, and then we also have faculty advisors. We call it a shared advising model. So you get to have the expertise of advisors and the mentorship from faculty in your journey. So we're going to have our success coaches come up, and they're going to introduce themselves and share a word of wisdom with you.
Hello, my name is Adam. I'm one of the success coaches here at APU. We're really excited to have all of you join us today. I would say my word of advice, just to kind of build off of what Steph was saying, is to utilize those resources. So we have our office, the Academic Success Center, and the Testing Center as well, but there are other departments and offices on campus that are all here to support you during your academic and professional and personal journey.
A little taller than me. Hi, my name is Annalise Trujillo. I'm the academic success coach for our School of Music and our STEM majors, so hello to the students I've met with. Some pieces of advice, I would say, first, read your email. 2, read your email, and 3, read your email. It's really important. That's where we communicate. Yep, everybody here. That is mainly our main point of communication with our faculty, with our staff, and just getting connected. And also, even if you feel like you have questions, but you're not too sure what to ask, and you just don't know and you need help, come to us. Email us. Let's schedule an appointment. The last thing we want students to do is just kind of fall through the cracks because they're afraid to ask or they don't know what to ask. And so let's meet, let's schedule an appointment so we can figure that out together just to ensure that you have a successful semester and semesters at APU. So welcome.
Hi, I'm Bryce Kubuyama. I am the coach for the School of Nursing as well as kinesiology. Two quick words of advice. The first, if it's within your means and within your family's means, take your time while you're here. So many students just want to rush through their major and their time. You're going to be working for a really long time, so try, just enjoy the time that you have here. The other piece of advice, I know we've been calling out, use our services here. I specifically want to highlight the ADR office, which is Accessibility and Disability Resources. So many students are scared or ashamed to use that. Students will come in and say like, hey, I just don't test well. I have a panic attack every time I take a test and I just fail my tests. Hey, the ADR office can help you with that. You don't have to struggle alone. So please see them. If you don't know how to do that, come talk to our team. We would love to help you. So welcome to APU.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gina. Nice to see you all. So my advice is really more sentimental, okay? So I know that you guys are all getting ready to transition, all you students, but just remember that your family members, your loved ones, your siblings, they are all going through the challenge as well. So I just encourage you in these next 2 days to take those extra pictures that your parents are forcing you to take, give those extra hugs, let them unpack you, let them take your trash out, do all the things and just enjoy the process. And as far as our families, our siblings, our parents go, sometimes absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? So I hope and my prayer is for this season of missing your kids that this will give you a new creative way to love them and to reach out to them and find a new way to bond in this season. Thanks, guys.
Gina didn't mention, but I'm going to mention it for her. She is a mom this year. Another role. Her son is joining us. I won't say his name and embarrass him. But Gina has a special role this semester as success coach and a parent now of a college student. We also have Stephanie Morales. You probably saw her picture up there. She's not here today, but do not worry. Students, if you're in those majors, you are still supported. You still have support, just not here today, so do not worry about that. Also, if you are here and you still haven't finished registering for classes that start on Monday, please come and let us help you with your schedule. Our team is going to be right in the VIP room, so if you exit these doors and go up the stairs, we're going to be on the right. We're a little room right there, the VIP room, and we would love to help you figure out your questions you still have so you are ready to go on Monday morning, okay? This is our contact information. If you guys haven't heard about Stellic, you can go to stellic.apu.edu and you will see who your success coach is in case you forget all of that. That's how you can contact them. That's how you can make appointments, and you'll see your planner and everything is set up in there for you. You also have our contact information, so if you haven't figured out Stellic, that's okay. You can call us, you can email us, come find us in Building 30. Can we give the coaches a round of applause? Okay. So, I get the pleasure of introducing the next speaker, which is Dr. Paul Flores, who has been working here at APU for 26, going on 27 years, one of my personal favorites, who is truly a student, just beloved faculty of the students. So can we all stand up? We all need a stretch and give him a round of applause, a standing ovation. Stretch, clap him up here.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Oh, en mi primer idioma. Buenos días. Excelente. Mi casa es su casa. Our house is your house. Our college is your college. I love the fact that, gosh, I get to be a professor. And I've been able to be a professor for, like she said, I think 26 years. You know, in my culture, being a professor is a big, big deal. My mom recently passed away, bless her heart, in January, and I had the opportunity to be her caregiver. And so I would have to leave to come be a professor. So I would tell my mom, Mom, I have to leave you. Why, mijo? I said, because I'm a professor. And my mom would say, oh, you're a professor, mijo? Oh, go. God bless you. Be a professor. So I just want to say and echo some of the thoughts that you belong here. Dr. Schreiner, that was an amazing presentation. I wish I had that presentation when I was a college student, and how Pastor Koba or Dr. Koba Canal is saying that you got this. Well, I am a professor here, but prior, I was a first-generation college student. And I'm going to show you a picture of me at my college graduation. And as a student, I would say I more was a survivor than someone who was thriving in the college experience. And I don't know why that was. I never talked to I talked to one professor one time my 4 years. I think because I was a first-generation college student, I didn't think I belonged. Maybe it's because I was a Latino, I didn't feel I belonged on the campus. Maybe because I thought they would find out that my dad spoke Spanish and not English. I don't know really what it was, but I survived. And I'm grateful for surviving. I basically just checked off boxes. Never saw an academic advisor, never had an alpha leader. I just checked off boxes. And then in the process of me finishing my degree, my wife, who was going to be my wife, was attending Azusa Pacific University. She goes, "You ought to come to my college. It's a little Christian college or whatever," because I was at a big school. And so I said, "Sure, I'll go." And as I walked with my wife, soon-to-be wife, she was saying hello to her professor. I go, "Who's that?" "Oh, that's my professor." "Hi, Dr. Brokaw. Hi, Dr. Stanton." I was like, "You talk to your professors?" And she said, "Yeah, that's what we do here at this university." And as Dr. Schreiner said, that is such a key part in thriving as a college student, is your professional relationship with your professor. I like to say in the next, well, you see the next slide. When I got married, we had 1 degree in our family. We now have 15 degrees in our family through our children, and at some point will be our grandchildren. And I attribute that because they learned the secret of thriving, as Dr. Schreiner presented to you. So I just want to say, first of all, ways that you can thrive based off of a relationship with your professor. First of all, your professor is a human being. And this semester, I'm teaching the first-year seminar class. I don't know any of you first-year seminar. And you're probably afraid of your professor, but I want to tell you that your professor's afraid of you as well, too. You probably want to be liked by your professor, and I want to tell you your professor wants to be liked by you as well, too. And so I think that's a healthy thing to understand, that your professor is a human being, and your professor is connected to life outside of that classroom, just like you are connected to life outside that classroom. So consider facilitating a professional relationship with your faculty member, which means when you come to class anticipating that I'm going to engage with the learning process, and I'm going to be part of the academic learning community that moment. Which means when I come in with this, that should go down, because that gets in the way of me engaging in the academic process with my professor and with my colleagues. Well, back in the day, there used to be a campaign about not texting and driving. Have you ever heard that concept? I think for me, I should have been told not to text and walk. That's so dangerous. So I've been working on not texting and walking because I bumped into too many people and I bumped into too many walls because I thought that was so important, instead of enjoying the walk. Similar in the classroom. There should be something like no texting and in the classroom because you want to enjoy the academic learning process. The other idea is think about before class, after class. That is a phenomenal opportunity to engage with your faculty member. How was your day? How was the church service last night? Hey, I saw you at this particular event. Before class, after class, hey, thanks for sharing about that. I didn't quite understand that concept. Those are beautiful times in which you can engage with your faculty member and thrive as a student. Dr. Schreiner mentioned office hours. I'm kind of intimidated by that word office hours. It's kind of an academic term we use. I was trying to think of a better way. I thought about happy hour, but that doesn't make sense. Well, it kind of does. Or maybe conversation hour, or maybe let's get to know you hour. All of us as professors, we do set aside time that we're in our office, that's what they call it, office hours, or really we set aside time for you to engage in conversation. And I've learned through this position that being a professor is not necessarily that my academic content, my specialty, but we really are teaching life. And we're teaching life, and we're living life with you, and the vehicle is our academic content. So consider office hours when you'll see that on your syllabus, and you'll see that explained by your professor. Course assignments. Most of us professors have course assignments that are actively engaged in the learning process. I use a methodology called academic service learning. So we do service, but we're learning course concepts while doing the service. Your professor is doing the same thing. So I would encourage you to engage with your professor through course assignments as well too. And then lastly, external opportunities. I so love being at APU. I've raised my family here at APU. And because I can go to theater events, I can go to musical concerts, I can bring my family to athletic events, to academic lectures, and see students. So I would encourage you to take advantage of some of these external opportunities and engage. If you see your faculty, your professor there with his wife or with their kids or now with their grandkids, that is beautiful because we're real people. Explore that opportunity of thriving. And lastly, some of us professors, we use external opportunities like gathering outside of the classroom. So if you're invited by your professor, consider joining those external opportunities. I get the phenomenal opportunity to introduce 2 students that I had at one time. I think now they're alpha leaders too. I'm not quite sure how that all works. But Belle and Felicia, just can tell how you thrive here at APU through that professor relationship.
Hi, my name is Belle Nervo. I'm going to be a senior here at APU. I'm a liberal studies major with an emphasis in special education and a minor in psychology. Truly, before coming to APU, I really wanted a place to find a community, but also a place to feel at home, and I think professors are just the way that we do that. I know Dr. Flores talked about professors being human beings, but I think the professors here, and especially Dr. Flores, does such a good job at showcasing how we are like people before we are students, and I think they care about our lives and they also care about our academics, and they kind of support us in everything we do. So I have never felt unsupported, and they definitely want to know what's going on in our lives as well as how they can help us thrive in the classroom. So it's been a really great experience.
My name is Felicia Ryman. I am also a senior liberal studies major, and I've had the privilege of having Dr. Flores as a professor multiple times, as well as a ton of other professors here, and they all just encourage us to get to know them. And I've been over to dinner to multiple of my professors' houses, and they just really want to get to know you. So I encourage you, get to know them, go to class early, have conversations, and do what you need to do to get to know your professors, because it really does benefit you in the long run. So get to know your professors. I promise they're not scary. They're just like us. They're just people too. So I encourage you to get to know them.
Thank you. Remember, you belong here. You got this. God bless you.
He turned toward me as we raced down the freeway toward the hospital, and me sitting in the passenger seat doing my best to keep the tears from stampeding down my face very softly. He turned to me and said, you don't have to be strong right now. You don't have to hold it all together here. And these words, the most necessary healing for a woman who knows how to carry worlds on her shoulders, but was never really taught how to put them down. These words releasing the fullness, permission to grieve, to exist, permission to take off the super person cape for a moment, permission to cry and show up. If I learned anything about my college experience or my 5 years spent on this campus, it was that that I was given permission to cry and show up. Yes, permission to learn and to grow, to change and to explore, but mostly the permission to cry when necessary and to show up exactly as I am. You see, we sat in her car as I told her about a heartbreak that in that moment felt like it was shattering my whole entire world and splitting my heart apart. She looked at me and said, "You are deserving of a beautifully handcrafted love story." And I have woven these words into poems, into hand-lettered prints. I have woven these words onto my heart until the day that I began to live out that beautifully handcrafted love story. See, I realized more and more with every passing and pivotal moment during my college years that it wasn't just about what we learned in the classrooms or what happened in the classroom, but so much about it was the moments that happened in the dorms, or the conversations across tables laced down the cougar walks, the one-on-ones with resident directors and mentors that this world will not always have so easily accessible or available to you. So take in every single moment. Allow yourself to experience the permission to grieve, to explore, to show up, to cry, to learn, and to grow. You are about to enter into the most remarkable season of your life. And no, I don't mean go to Disneyland for the whole day and watch the fireworks after. I mean remarkable. Like God is gonna show up in your life in more ways than you could ever ask or imagine. That you are going to begin to see him in new ways. He will speak to your heart in ways that you've never heard before, or maybe for some of you, he will meet you for the first time on the cougar walk, or knees pressed into the prayer chapel, tucked into streaming waters, or the whispers of a prayer wall that you will feel keeps you from every disaster that this life will throw at you. Remarkable meaning it will be hard. It will be challenging. It will stretch you in ways that will feel as though maybe you are not ready, but what does it even mean to be ready anyway? You are not here to get ready to be world changers. You are already world changers. So you are here to step into your ability to world change, step into your giftings and your God-given purpose and calling. Friends, you will grow in this space. You will change in this space. And I only know that because I grew in this space. I changed in this space. I found God in ways in this place. I found the opportunity to explore my giftings and who God has created me to be and what he has created me to do. And that's what this degree did. I didn't just walk across the stage with a bachelor's in psychology. I walked across the stage with peace in my heart and an understanding of who I am and how he has created me to be and what he has created me to do in this world. I told you it was going to be remarkable, and I will tell you now that it doesn't always look like the 4-year plan that we highlight, map out, and plan. And most times it doesn't look like what we expect, but it will be good. And it will be swimming with purpose, and it will have God's penmanship all on your story. So, when I said that your lives are about to change, I wasn't exaggerating. It's going to be good. It's going to continue to shape you into the men and women that God has created you to be. So are you ready? Are you ready to step into your calling? Are you ready for something remarkable?
Yes. Well, good morning. I am so honored and privileged to be with you this morning. My name is Dr. Karen Rugley, and I serve as part of our spiritual life team here at APU. I am the director in the Office of Service and Discipleship, and I am one of your campus pastors. And I, 22 years ago, sat in this very seat as one of you, a student here at APU. Throughout my time here at APU, I was able to point to so many experiences that shaped me. Similarly to this video, I was shaped emotionally, I was shaped mentally, I was shaped physically, and I was shaped spiritually. It is now an honor and a privilege to do the work that I do on this campus, to be a part of shaping your life, to be a part of shaping you into becoming more like Jesus, being with Jesus, and doing what Jesus did. So in our spiritual life team, we have a few different things that we offer on our campus. As you heard, your spiritual formation is critical to your thriving here at APU. And so we want to help you by having a focus on spiritual formation. We do that through worshiping together. We do that in community by participating in faith-based service experiences. We do relational discipleship together, and we receive spiritual care. Now, our spiritual life area is comprised of these two divisions, the Office of Chapel and Pastoral Care, as well as the Office of Service and Discipleship. And I want to start by talking to you about chapel. Chapel has been a core component of APU and a degree at this institution from the very beginning of our foundation. The legacy of chapel has been and continues to be that all full-time undergraduate students are required to attend chapel. Now, we live out this chapel requirement through consistent rhythms of worshiping together as a community. These worship experiences that we have, they are biblically grounded. They are diverse. They are pastoral, and they challenge you students to be an active participant in your spiritual and faith transformation. This rhythmic intentionality through the chapel requirement requires that students attend chapel 3 times a week. We have these chapels in person, and they are offered on Monday and Wednesday mornings here in this building. They are also offered on Thursday nights and Friday mornings in UTCC. You will find when you look at your course schedule that there is no chance for you to take classes during our Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning chapels because we believe so much in the chapel experience and worshiping together corporately that we cancel all classes during that time. We also offer you 10 absences through the semester. These are opportunities for you if you need to take a little bit of a break, if you have a paper that maybe you need to work on, if you're sick, or if you have something that you need to just step away from, you get 10 absences each semester to use for your chapel. But let me tell you this, as students, you are responsible to track these 10 absences on your own. We believe that you are ready for adulthood, and this is an awesome way for you to prepare by tracking your university requirements, your spiritual life requirements, which includes your chapel attendance. We do, though, have a very convenient way for you to do that. We have a new program this year called I Attended. If you have not yet downloaded I Attended, please get out your phone, point your phone to this QR code right here. If you are an undergraduate student, you need to sign in with your apu.edu account, so your APU email. Please do that now. It's okay if you're using your phone while I'm talking, I promise, okay? But this is how you will track attendance. This is how you will see upcoming chapel speakers, as well as scan in and out of chapel every time you are here. So this is going to be an important part of your chapel experience here at APU. The Office of Chapel and Pastoral Care also offers pastoral counseling. We offer confidential one-on-one pastoral counseling to all students here at APU. We have a team of 6 campus pastors that are ordained ministers and pastors ready to meet with you and process through many of life's ups and downs. These 3 men and 3 women are excited to get to know you through offering pastoral counseling. We want the chance to explore all of the things that God is doing in your life with you and get the chance to pray through those things and maybe even help understand what God might be doing. So I want to transition to our service experience here at APU. We, in our office, in the Office of Service and Discipleship, we provide spaces where students are equipped and empowered to faithfully pursue God and to participate in God's transformative work in the world. We want to give students a chance to follow Jesus' command of both being Jesus' disciples and following in the way of Jesus. We do this through local and global engagement opportunities as well as relational discipleship opportunities. Locally, we offer service experiences from Azusa to LA. We have ways for you to serve 1 or 2 times each semester in our one-time service experiences. Or you can get plugged into the same thing that you are doing every single week and really building deep and honoring commitments to our local community each week. We also have weekend experiences to LA each semester that are powerfully immersive. These are chances for you to take part in what God is already doing here in the San Gabriel Valley, specifically in Los Angeles, which is one of the most diverse cities in the world, just a little over 20 miles away from here. Globally, we have opportunities for students to join our national and international service experiences. These are global engagement teams. They take place over fall break, spring break, and summer break. This year, we have 35 different opportunities for you to serve missionally for a few days or a few weeks. These are chances for you to take all of the things that you are learning in the classroom and put them into practice, whether that be here across the United States, driving into Mexico over Thanksgiving or spring break, or potentially even serving in a multitude of countries over your summer. We even do have postgraduate service experiences, but it's okay. You have a few years before you will get there, so we'll get to those later. We also believe that your discipleship is a critical piece of your spiritual formation here at APU. There we go. We offer students, staff, and faculty-led discipleship groups, or as we call them on our campus, they're D groups. They meet regularly to provide students opportunities to follow Jesus together. We encourage every single one of you to be involved in a discipleship group. There's going to be a lot of chances for spiritual formation through chapel and service on our campus, but discipleship groups are smaller ways for you to explore what does it look like to take all of this big stuff and how do I follow Jesus together with other women and men at this institution. We also offer discipleship-focused prayer nights as well as retreats to help you build life-giving friendships here at APU. We believe that our legacy of service here at APU, it's one of our 4 cornerstones, is so vital that we actually have a university service credit requirement. And trust me, I know that it feels intimidating. We're talking about a chapel requirement and a service requirement, but I am a living testimony of the power of experiential service during your time here at APU. My life was absolutely changed because of the experiences that I got to participate in when I was a student. It's why I do what I do now. So, APU has a service requirement. We believe that service is a way to deepen your relationship with Christ, to get to know your on and off-campus communities, and to put the learning that you are gaining in the classroom into real-world experience. So APU requires that all full-time undergraduate students complete 120 service credits before graduation. These experiences have to take place off campus, and they must be unpaid for it to count toward your service credit requirement. If you are plugged into a local church and serving at a local church, that is awesome. We want that for you. That counts toward your service as long as it's off campus and unpaid. Anything that you do in the Office of Service and Discipleship related to serving locally, nationally, or internationally is also a way for you to get those service credits. And as Dr. Flores mentioned, there are many, many majors that have these experiences built into the classroom where you can actually go out and participate in service in a local school or an after-school tutoring center or maybe in a hospital doing your clinicals. There is lots of opportunity for your spiritual formation here at APU. It is critical to what it means to thrive as an APU student. So right after this session, which we are nearing the end of, I promise, you have been sitting so patiently and hearing a lot of information being given to you. Right after this, as you are participating in lunch, you are going to have the opportunity to meet with different members of spiritual life, of our Office of Service and Discipleship, to get connected to these experiences. You will be able to grab lunch, and there will be a team of student leaders and our staff that are able and ready to get you connected to serving locally, to give you more information about how you might serve globally, and to get you signed up for a discipleship group right now. If you also have questions about our chapel experiences or our chapel requirement, we are ready and willing to get those. Hear us say we are so, so grateful that you have chosen APU, that you have chosen APU for your transformational journey of being a college student. We are excited for the ways that God is going to bless you and form you in your spiritual walk this year. May God bless you.
Well, you've been exposed to a lot of information today. You've had an opportunity to learn about the many ways that we plan to support you as you thrive here at APU. And that's the important message through all of this. There will be time to learn all the different opportunities, but the main message that we wanted to convey to you today is that we are here to support you every step of the way. As your professors, your success coaches, your alpha leaders, all the people who support commuters and residents, we are here to help you find your way as part of this journey. And your part, of course, is to never give up, to stick with us in this journey, and our part is to challenge you, to support you, and to be part of the journey with you. So best wishes to you as you go out. Alex is going to give us some instructions about that, but just know that our prayers are with you, and we are excited to see what God has in store for you at APU. Thank you.
All right, good morning. I get to give you some transition instructions as we conclude this session and make our way to lunch. And so let me go ahead and share that. So lunch is going to be provided in our auxiliary court, which is actually right behind us on the second floor. And so you're going to actually want to exit kind of on the south side of our Felix Event Center, which is to your right. And there are sets of stairs that will take you upstairs into the auxiliary court. If you need an elevator, there's an elevator on this corner here. And regardless of the wristband color you have, you should either have a red or a black wristband that will get you access to lunch today. So I want to encourage you to do that. I actually smell the lunch right now in this room, so I'm getting hungry. So let me breeze through the rest of the stuff real quick. So as Dr. Rugley mentioned, we have our spiritual engagement fair that's going to be taking place at the Duke Student Commons, which is just right next door. So what we would like for you to do is grab your lunch and then walk to the spiritual engagement fair. And it's taking place again at the Duke Student Commons. There's tables and chairs there for you to be able to enjoy your lunch. And we really invite you to engage with that fair as well. After lunch, students are actually going to be going to East Campus, specifically to our UTCC room, which is where you all checked in for Welcome Weekend. It's on the second floor of the dining hall. We call it UTCC. Students, you're going to want us to meet us there at 1:30 p.m., and that's when we will start our Passport to APU session. And for our families and guests, you'll come back here to the Felix Event Center on West Campus for our second portion of our Just for Families session. So with that, let me just pray for us for lunch, and then you all will be dismissed. If you would bow your heads with me. God, we thank you for this morning. We thank you for the beginning of this journey. I pray, God, that you would just really help us to process everything that we heard today, and may you really equip us as we look forward to the beginning of this amazing journey. May you bless this food to our bodies. May you bless the hands that prepared it, and we just look forward to really rich conversations as we unpack what we heard this morning. We thank you. In your name we pray. Amen. Y'all are dismissed. Thank you.